Good afternoon. Today we are going to finish up our video series on the characteristic traits of leadership. If you haven't been following along, what I've been doing is kind of breaking down and explaining the three main tenets of leadership for those people who may be out there trying to get your vote or who want to be in a role where they have to kind of lead an organization or a department or whatever it is. So been kind of breaking down those three main things, and I based this off of an article that I wrote a few years ago. And in this series, we've already talked about knowledge, we've already talked about confidence, and today we're going to talk about empathy. Those first two videos I'm going to put down below in the comments, so if you haven't been watching, you can kind of get yourself caught back up. Today we're going to talk about empathy. Empathy, I think, is the most important characteristic trait that anyone in a leadership position can have. It's also the hardest trait to develop in a leader, and the reason why that is because you have to have a personal, if you don't know what empathy is, basically it's just a way for you to understand what somebody else is going through, understand what they're going through, and put that understanding into yourself. That's going to allow you to make a better decision for whatever it is that you're trying to decide on for that subject, for that person or that group of people. So that's what empathy is. But and that's why it's so hard to attain. And that's why it's so hard to develop, because there's two ways to gain empathy, and that's either to have a personal experience in some way with the subject matter, or you have to rely on somebody else's personal experience with the subject matter. And even farther than that, you have to trust and honor that experience. You have to trust that this person is giving you an accurate account of their experience and their emotions that are involved and all of the history that's involved with that experience. You have to trust that. And then you have to honor it, which means you have to take that in and really understand what it is that person was experiencing in whatever situation that is. And I want to give just a real simple excuse. It's really small. It's a really small thing, but I think it's the easiest way to understand. So, have you ever been in trouble for coming in late to work? I have. You're more likely to get in trouble from a boss who's never been late. Okay, he doesn't understand that if he's never been late, never had traffic, never had a kid, get sick right before you left the house, he's less likely to kind of say, that's okay, we'll forget about it, things happen. If he's always on time, has never been late in his entire life, he can't put himself in that situation where something could happen or might happen, and he's less likely to just kind of sweep it under the rug. If somebody has been late, had something happen routinely over the years, they are more than likely to understand where you're coming from if you're running late. Hey, my kid got sick. I had a hard time, getting out of the house in time, but I'll be there in a few minutes. Okay, the guy that you're a supervisor or whatever is going to say, yeah, I understand. I've had that happen too. Just be safe on your way here. Get here when you can. Don't rush it. Okay, that's empathy. That is a supervisor that has empathy for that employee because he's been there. He understands it. He knows what it is. And this is why this is so important for an elected official, because an elected official is responsible for a whole group of people. And if they don't understand what that group of people goes through on a day-to-day basis, or they don't understand what that group of people as an aggregate has dealt with their whole lives coming on up to right now, and they're going to be less likely to empathize and make decisions that are based on that experience, especially decisions that are going to affect the future generations. Remember, we're talking about the future generations, because those elected officials are making decisions now that's going to affect us 20, 30, 40 years down the road. So that's why I think empathy is especially important in tribal elected officials, tribal council candidates, because they need to understand where the tribe has come from. They need to understand back in the day when we had zero money, or back in the day when all of us were kind of proud of each other and moved with each other as a community. And they need to understand all of the problems associated with everything all the way up through the years until today, and then make decisions that's going to benefit the future generations based off of the empathy that they have for the people in themselves coming on up until now, from past until now. So that's why it's such an important thing. And they also have to deal with the tribal organization at a level that most people don't have to deal with it. You know, you have outside entities coming in, outside employees. You need to empathize with all of these little things that are coming back in. There might be a nonprofit program that's coming in to help with the tribe, or that needs help from the tribe. Leader has to empathize with what they're trying to do. They also have to empathize with other tribes that are dealing with the federal government, that the federal government might put everyone in this one little bubble. So that our leaders have to empathize with another tribe to understand what their issues are on their own reservation, because we're all going to be lumped together in some fashion when we're dealing with the federal government. So empathy is huge. Empathy is one of those things that you can't give to somebody. You can't buy it from anybody. It has to be achieved, like I said, through personal experience or by trusting and honoring somebody else's experience with it. So they're going to have to go out, and if they don't have an experience with something, they're going to have to go out and talk to people. Like, have you ever dealt with something like this before? Do you have history with something like this before? Let me know. What is it that makes all this stuff tick? So that's why it's such an important thing. This is going to be it for this series of videos. So what I'm going to do, there's been a kind of a recurring theme. If you watch the videos, there's a recurring theme, and that's experience with the tribal way of life, our cultural way of life, traditional way of life, and making those decisions for our future generations and keeping all of those things intact. So after this is over, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a recap video. I'll post that either this evening or tomorrow, but I'll recap everything. And for those of you who want to see everything that we talked about, everything that I talked about, I'm going to put the whole set of videos together. And if you'd like it, I'll send it to you. You know, you just have one little thing that maybe you can play. But I just want to emphasize that these videos are I'm only doing these videos so that you can have a broader understanding of what that term leadership means. And if somebody's putting up leadership into their mailers or into newspaper ads or whatever, these are the things that you need to question them on. These are the things that you need to go and talk to them about. Say, what is this and what is this? Where is your experience here? What is your empathy on this issue? Stuff, stuff like that. These videos can be used as a tool for you to get into the mind of the people who are asking for your vote. So this is also going to rely on you and your outreach to other people. You're going to learn something from here, listen to the words that I have to say, and then you can go and find those people and talk to them, because a lot of them aren't going to come and talk to you, especially during COVID, or they might have their own little, way of getting information out to people. But this is really for you to understand what that word means. So go and find these people, ask them these questions and talk to them. But we'll get to that more in the recap video. You guys stay safe out there. If you guys have any questions about anything, hit me up. I'm always available. I'll answer any questions that you may have. See you guys later. Have a good day.